Hall of Famer Thurman Thomas. Thurman, welcome. You staying warm out there?
Sir. Oh, yeah. Ready to go.
It's going to be a little chilly on Sunday night, man.
I've been preparing for it.
Okay.
I've been out shoveling snow, short sleeves on. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm ready
okay.
to go. Oh, no doubt. I'm ready to go.
I prepared for it too. I bought indoor seats.
Oh, Tasker.
No, I didn't. No. But yeah, that's how I'd prepare.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. It's
I told somebody, you're gonna have fans out there going shirtless, and they're gonna be waving at
Oh,
and
no
stuff
doubt.
like that. I was telling somebody, some of the content guys, the young guys, and I go, you know what that makes you when you a shirtless fan in the stands of a sub-zero game football. You know what that makes you?
what?
Cold.
Cold.
That's it. You ain't getting anything out of it except cold.
Well, I'm betting money that Fitzpatrick is going to do it since he's the legend of the game.
Yeah, he's got to, right?
He has to, right?
Got to. That's his
has
He
thing.
to.
set the precedent.
He
It's his
did.
own fault.
It's his own
He brought it on himself.
People are going to be looking for it.
That's
and
the expectation.
I told Lil Thurman, Lil Thurman asked me this morning, he said, if he does it, will you do it? I'm like, no.
Yeah. Because the first time he did it was during that perfect New England playoff game. It was 5 degrees for that game.
It was 5 degrees.
So if you're going to do it when it's
And I'm
5,
gonna tell you,
you're going to have to do it when it's 8.
I was sidelined for Westwood won that game. I was down there the whole game, and I was bundled.
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah, that was a Gore-Tex game.
there was
Got to bring out the Gore-Tex.
there was absolutely no escape.
No escape.
There was no escape from it.
And that was the first time.
Oh, dude.
That was the first time I got COVID.
Oh, was that right?
I left at halftime. I left and went home. I was at home for 3 days by myself, patting them. The kids were out of town, so it was not fun.
The game was fun.
The game was great, yeah. But I'm
This-
looking forward to
I'm-
this.
Let me just say
I
this
know,
thing.
right?
Maybe I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to have a game like that against this team.
Nah, I'm sitting up here just kind of looking at everything, analyzing everything, and this is you got one guy who's the career rushing leader at the QB position. You got one guy who's probably going to end up with the most touchdown rushing as a quarterback. Another guy who's going to finish probably in the top 10 when his career is over with, because I think he has at least 2 or 3 more years left.
Right.
Derrick Henry. And
You got this quarterback with a touchdown also holds the postseason record for rushing yards by a touchdown in a
Right.
career.
In a
by
career.
a quarterback in a career.
yeah,
He took it over from Steve Young.
Well, you have Josh with 609 rushing yards, Lamar with 602
Right.
career playoff
1
rushing
and 2.
yards. Both of
1
them
and 2.
passed Steve Young last week.
So these guys, I said this too, Thurman. You tell me, because you got Pat Mahomes, Josh, Lamar, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
You got 4 guys that are. It's like Kelly, Marino, Elway, Montana, Young. It's that kind of. I mean, you have 4 all-timers playing right now. Well, Burrow's out of it, but
Yeah.
in this conference, you got
That's just in this conference.
4 all-timers.
In the conference.
All-timers.
I mean, look for ratings and numbers to be set. Come Sunday night at 6:30.
Every time, well, I was laughing every time I sat down to tape the Sean McDermott show this season. I would say, okay, this week, Josh is the first quarterback in history to do this.
Right.
And then the next week, by the way, this week, he's the first quarterback in history to do that. No, now this week, it's a third thing. Now he's got the first quarterback in history to put up these numbers.
Yeah.
And I know he's not the only one. Lamar is killing it.
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes is sitting over there playing with his food, going 15-2. I mean, golly.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a tough league.
It's a golden age of quarterback.
It really is.
it
And
really is.
It really
I mean,
is.
then you think about it, I'm like, man, I wish we could have had.
It's been a minute
Wish we
since
could have
we've
got
had
Josh during the drought years.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Back in the day, it was Brady and Manning.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. And Roethlisberger was in there maybe a little bit, and Phillip Rivers had but they,
Matt Ryan.
they couldn't get past either of those guys in the playoffs.
No.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about it a lot throughout the year, Mahomes. I mean, he's been 1 or 2 every single year.
Yeah.
And that definitely helps.
Bill's been
I'm
2
waiting-
seed 3 straight years.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see how motivated Patrick Mahomes is on Saturday, because he didn't even make first or second team All-Pro. Lamar was 1, Josh was 2, and he didn't make the Pro Bowl either.
I don't think
as a
that,
starter or first alternate.
I don't think that really matters with a couple of rings on your finger. I don't really think that
I
matters
know.
at that point. And I get your point.
But I think he's going to be like Michael Jordan, who was
still
insulted
the
by
guy.
everything. I took that personally. I took that personally. I took that personally. What does a guy with 2 rings have to do to get motivated? He's got to take that personally.
Yeah. He probably will.
There's something
And
in
he
it.
probably will.
I think he will.
I think he will. So, I mean, and
You would have.
oh, yeah, absolutely. I know I would have.
He was worse than Jordan.
You could talk about my teammate, and I would have been right there, too.
Thurman got hot because they called him best all-around running back in the league.
Yeah.
He walked out.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, they just called you that? What? You didn't have to qualify it. I'm the best running back.
Yeah.
Not the best all-round running back. I was like, dude, you got to jump through some mental hoops to get this.
Well, we all knew he was a goner back then.
Right.
And this is when having Emmett and Barry at the same time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Right.
I probably wasn't a great thing to say.
All right, so let me. I
on
want
purpose.
to just to kind of illustrate something because this. I was just going through the notes, getting ready for this game, and this one, I was telling Steve today. The more and more I'm reading about what the Ravens have done offensively, the more I'm like, oh man, like, gee, oh my gosh, like, what? Oh damn, like they're setting a lot of precedents with their offense this year. This is the one that grabbed me though. So Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson have combined for 3,103 rushing yards by themselves this season, including playoffs. It's the most in NFL history by any teammate duo, and it's over 300 more yards than the second best team, which, by the way, are the 2024 Eagles with Hurts and Barkley. Jackson is 4 rushing yards away from having the Ravens become the first team in NFL history to have a 2,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard rusher in the same year. That is nuts.
Yeah, they're lighting
That is not right.
They're lighting it up.
Yeah, they are like
You got a 2,000-yard guy and a 1,000-yard guy in the same damn team.
Yeah, and you wonder how they lost 5 games this year.
Yeah.
You wonder how they lost 5 games.
They got out of the gate slow. They were 1-2 to start.
Yeah, they did.
They were
And
0-2 to start.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and look, I think it comes down to Lamar. I think if we handle Derrick Henry with the run and come out first play, just like Ed Oliver did against the Detroit Lions, and set the tone, that's the way that this football team has to play. I'm still, man, I don't want to say I'm not convinced, but hey, he hasn't been in temperature like this. He doesn't have Zay Flowers. I don't know if he's playing or not. So things are a little bit different, and it's going to be cold. And I'm not sure if Lamar he probably have the capability of playing in cold weather, but we haven't seen it. So we're gonna find out.
Coldest game he ever played in was 27 degrees at kickoff.
Yeah, and this is a
is
stadium
gonna be
where
8.
it's going to be 8 and probably windy, probably.
Maybe.
So maybe. So hey, look, missing Zay Flowers, I think.
Yeah, he didn't practice yesterday.
Hasn't really slowed him down, but I think you have to take Derrick Henry out of the football game and let this be on Lamar. Because we seen it last year. Remember last year in the AFC Championship game? He was throwing the ball all over the place. I know he didn't have Derrick Henry then.
He didn't have him,
but at that point, they were like, you have to win this game.
Right.
And he didn't have one of his best games.
And to do that, the offense is going to have to score points early for Buffalo. You got to get up on this.
You got to get up
I
in
think
order for
fast-
him to do
I
that.
think this is. I said this earlier in the show. I think this more than any game they've played is almost demands the Bills' offense to get out fast.
Yeah.
They're elite front runners. When they get out in front, man.
They're like a
You
boulder
can't
coming
catch
down.
them.
now.
Now, they were vulnerable to that early this season, and they've showed, they've had games like that in the past where they let teams off the hook, like the Miami game down there early last year, where they were way up on Miami. And Miami started.
Detroit.
Yeah, so I think this is a game where you got to get out on them and make them bear down. They got to bear down. You know?
and force it. And force Lamar to, hey, if he has anywhere from 40 on attempts, I say the Bills are I say the Bills are in a good position.
Yeah.
I say the Bills will be in a good position to win this football game because I think even with it's going to be a physical football game, and
It has to be.
And that's going to be brought on by, when you look at both teams, it's the Baltimore Ravens. They're a very physical, right on the edge type of referee. I don't know if I'm going to throw my flag or if it's going
They
to
clutch and grab every play.
Every single play. And so the Bills are going to have to match that, but they're going to have to be in control of themselves because it's going to get chippy out there.
Yeah, I
Because
think
both of these teams are itching to get to that next spot.
Zay Flowers not practicing again today.
Baltimore has always been brilliant in this respect, even go way back to Ray Lewis. We're going to do it until you call a flag.
Right, exactly.
And then
They
we're
set
gonna
the tone.
Yeah, they dare you to
We're
throw
going
a
to do it
flag.
exactly that way all the time.
All the
so
time.
if it's an iffy call, you're going to like have to keep calling it. They don't care.
Yeah.
And I remember this too. They get down in on a 4th and 1 or a 1st and goal on the 1, or even a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the 1. You are not scoring. They can take the penalty, but you still ain't in the end zone yet. We'll take 4 more shots.
Take a
to
hold
keep
in
you
the
out.
right,
You can
exactly.
take 4 more penalties.
Yeah.
We're not letting you score.
Yeah.
You may, that's their philosophy.
Yeah.
I
being in that
stood right
division-
there in that Super Bowl when the 49ers are playing with Colin Kaepernick, and the 49ers are playing him in New Orleans, and after the blackout, after the lights went out, the Ravens had a hard time turning it back on, and the Niners came storming back with Jim Harbaugh and stuff.
Yeah.
They got it to a 2-point game, and they were coming up on a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
They were going to run the 2-point conversion, and it was illegal contact, holding, and pass interference. And
Follow.
official just looked at it. They didn't call it.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
And the Ravens get their win. So they're just not. They're just going to play that game like that on that side of the ball.
Like you said, they've been that way since they've been in Baltimore.
And it's a good philosophy.
It is a
works.
good philosophy. And you
It
know
works.
what? And it works because look at the division that they're in.
Yeah.
That is a
Black and blue division.
exactly what it is. And you look at our division. We're throwing it 40 times a game. I mean, the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Everybody. The Jets and everybody. New England. But that's the way that division has been built, and they've continued that trend. So, man, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna
I
be
knew the
a
game
game.
was at 6:30. I might get here at 4 o'clock. I mean,
It's-
it's
How much?
one of those games.
How much do you put into home field advantage? And I'll give you some numbers here. As you know, the Bills are unbeaten at home this year. Ravens went 6-3 on the road this season. How different is it, the fact that the game is here in this building?
I think it's totally different. We're a different ball club when we play at home, and that is done by the fan base here. The fan base here, and I'll say it right here, and I'll say it today. We need to be at our loudest come Sunday night.
Yeah.
It needs to be one of those games where it's really, really loud, because I think that will affect Baltimore.
Got a couple of false starts last
Yeah.
week against Denver.
It's
Yeah, but I
us-
think also us too. We like you said, we have to get up to a fast start.
Yeah.
We have to get up to a fast start. Hey, look, I don't care if we get 3 or 4 first downs. Let that set the tone for the rest of the game. Like, this is how it's going to be.
I think too, you got to remember too, from the first meeting in week 4, the Bills do need to be a different ball club.
Yeah.
They just weren't good enough in that game. Now, Milano and Bernard were out. Rapp got hurt early. Shakir, they lost early.
Taron Johnson wasn't there.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper wasn't part of the mix. They hadn't thrown, I don't think they'd even thrown a pass to Keon, maybe one at that point of the season.
Yeah, and he's back.
Yeah. So they will be different because they'll even have different players on the field this week, particularly defensively.
Yeah.
But both these clubs are very different now. You know how it is. It seems like 2018 week 4.
Right.
Week 4.
Yeah.
That it seems like it was 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's it's a very intriguing game, very exciting game. I mean, after the game against Denver Sunday, I texted Sean McDermott. I said, "Tell everybody in the organization to get an extra lift in.
Yeah.
Get an extra lift in this week because
Well, and that's why I was going to ask you, because you saw the Bills run the ball very effectively last week against the third-ranked run defense. Now you're playing the number 1 run defense, who, to your point, bigger, thicker, up front especially. So what do you think should be the approach in terms of running the ball against a group like that this week? Like, is there a best way to run it, or do you just put faith in that O-line and that jumbo package and say, let's go?
I think you put faith in that offensive line. I really do. And the thing that I liked about it last week was that, instead of doing the stretch play to Cook, they pitched it to him, so he got an opportunity to.
They ran a bunch of
They
different
ran
stuff.
a bunch of. They ran.
They ran true eye formation. We
Yeah.
haven't seen that all year.
All year long, right? So yeah, I think with pitching him the football, and those guys are really, he hasn't even set up a block yet. I think you have to get those guys moving. If they're going to pitch to the right, those defensive linemen are going to be moving, and I think that with the agility that this Buffalo Bills offense have shown, I think that's the best way to attack it. I think straight up the middle, I don't know how well that's going to work because you got Rohan Smith there. I mean, he's
Roquan.
yeah, he's unbelievable, and he's the leader of that defense. So yeah, I think you got to kind of maybe not spread these guys out, but hey,
Get
make
them
it where
moving.
you have more
Get 'em
angles,
moving,
get them
yeah.
moving. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game. I have a hard time, particularly in this building, seeing anybody coming in and lumping them up, lumping the Bills up.
That hasn't happened here in a long time.
But this is a different kind of Ravens team. I think even
Yeah.
Bills fans have some apprehension about, man, I don't know, because we were talking before we came on. I was like, man, a lot of Bills fans are like, we've had some callers say, nah, we're going to lump them up. The Ravens are going to we're going to crush them. I don't know that even the Ravens are saying, we're going to lump the Bills up in there. I think it's going to be, I said this, I think it's going to be the last team to make a defensive play is going to be the one that wins it. I don't think it's going to be to win the game, but like 2 years ago,
Right.
Poyer picked them off in the back of the end zone when they were going in with 3 minutes to go.
Right.
Bills run down there, kick a field goal to win it with no time on the clock. Something like that. I think it'll be a defensive play that sets up the team to win or wins it for them, and on either side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean
Either team.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about special teams, and that's a part of the game that I know you love, but it's a part of the game that I love also.
Yeah, yeah.
And, how many times have we seen like this year, in the last couple of years,
About Washington
Justin
Doinkin one
Tucker
for the
not
win.
being the Justin Tucker that he was?
Tucker missed 10 kicks this year. Bass missed 10
10
kicks
kicks
this year.
this year. So, I mean, with the way that this game is set up, because I don't feel like it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be like
Tight.
all the way
It's
down
a
to
single
the end.
possession game.
Single possession game, and if it comes down to these kickers, both of them have missed 10. You said this year.
Yeah. Tucker missed 8 field goal attempts, 2-point afters. Bass missed 5 field goal attempts, 5-point afters.
Right.
But they both missed 10 total.
10 total. So
Tucker hasn't missed since week 14. Bass missed an extra point try up in New England in week 18. That's his last miss.
yeah, I'm going with my buddy Big Mouth Bass.
Okay.
If it comes down to it.
Largemouth bass, yeah.
Yeah, largemouth bass. So
Okay. I think he's got a stronger leg than Tucker. Which,
At this point,
which
he
may
does.
At
be
this point, yeah.
which may be important when it's this cold and you're kicking a rock.
Yeah.
Ball doesn't travel as far when it's this cold.
What do you think about ball handling? I mean, you talk about cold rock. I said, when it gets this cold, everything you touch is all polished. It's all slippery and everything. What do you think about, do you have any special stuff you did to handle the ball as a running back
Like
or anything
super
like that?
cold?
Did you keep your forearms bare and stuff? Or
Nah, I kept my forearms bare. Yeah.
You had gloves though.
I had gloves. Though.
Yeah.
Had
Well, the gloves are good, though.
Newman gloves, though, and they were real sticky. Yeah, real sticky.
The technology in the gloves these
Yeah.
days. I mean, you see guys holding the ball.
Yeah,
You feel like they can't get it. When you hold it.
I think you've seen James Cook all year wear sleeves like right down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he hasn't even fumbled this year, so I
Right.
don't even want to jinx him or whatever. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't think you do anything differently as a running back. I think it's more of the quarterback thing than anything. Having to
Yeah,
grip
I was
the ball.
telling
I think it's
Steve,
more of
like-
a quarterback
Yeah.
thing than a running back thing because obviously with a running back you can protect the ball like really at all times.
Because Lamar in practice yesterday tried practicing with a glove on his non-throwing hand. He hated it, so he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
He's going bare hands, like both hands.
Yeah.
And with all that read option stuff, like you want
have
to
to be
feel the ball. I'm
You
guessing
wanna
if
feel
you're
it.
that
Yeah,
guy.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna be very important.
he's going to go barehanded.
I'm ready. It's a game tomorrow.
You're ready, man.
Nah.
Thurman's excited
Nah.
about it. You see, you gonna get here early.
Yeah, probably not.
I always get here early, man. I'm way early. I have a couple of stops I make and
Yeah.
around the parking lots. And
Now,
stuff,
you know
say hi
what?
to
I'm
people.
just glad that hey, we're in this position to really. I mean, if you look at both of these football teams, I mean, they're itching for the next game.
Yeah, this is
I mean, this is
what these.
this is the. I don't want to call it the Super Bowl.
No.
Some people have called it, in terms of competition level, the best game we're going to see
It is
the rest of the way.
Yeah, this
could
is
be.
this is a really
be.
good game. I think it's a really good game because we know how good the Bills are and have been and can be, and if both these teams play up to their level, it's a pick'em game, particularly because it's in this building.
It's in this
Their offense is unbelievable.
It's kind of like San Francisco and Dallas when they would play each other in
Yeah.
the conference title game. You remember those in the 90s
Yeah.
and stuff?
And you know what
people
they
were like, well, this is the most competitive game we're going to see.
Yeah, but
It's kind of like that.
It is because, and I'll say this too. It's back in the day when Irvin and Michael Irvin and those guys said it comes down to your big time players making big time plays in big time moments. These games come down to that because coaches tend to lean on those guys in these moments. They get more They get opportunities. I mean, my guy here is carrying it 30 plus times. They're handing him the ball. They ain't giving it to me.
Right.
So those trick plays or whatever. This is you lean on the stars on your team, and that's what happens.
Thurman, I'm going to give you a stat that you're going to be over the moon about that I uncovered last week. So if we throw out Josh's single snap in Week 18, okay, against the Patriots when he came on for one snap and then popped out of the game, if you eliminate that start by Josh Allen, when the Bills run the ball more than 50% of the time in Josh Allen starts, excluding that game, the Bills are 34-0.
Drop the mic, baby.
More than
even say anything, you dropping the
50%.
mic.
More than 50% run. Not at 50%.
Not at-
If it's
more
at
than-
50%, I think they're like 36-3
Yeah.
in Josh Allen starts, but more than 50% run, 34-0.
It's a nice stat right
Yeah,
there.
and a nice number.
That's a nice stat and a nice number.
Oh, look at you. I didn't notice
yeah,
that.
Yeah, you didn't notice that,
I thought
right?
you would like that.
That is a
Hey, if we can
quintessential-
move it to 35-0, I'll take that.
That
Yeah.
is quintessential Thurman Thomas
Now,
right there.
now
That
you
is-
can do
that.
that.
Is a stat.
You can do that if you get up on them early. You can do that.
Yeah.
You'll probably be
Right.
more than 50% by the end of the game
Right.
if you're ahead.
If you're ahead.
And I think
And that's a big
crucial.
if against
big
this
if.
team.
I really believe if you can, that's the key. The team with the lead, even if it's by 1 point,
Right.
you get the lead and then you get the ball again, the pressure really mounts in games like this.
I mean, think about it. We saw it last week, but there have been other times this year where you just saw the Bills choke out the game with the run.
With the
Right.
run.
They
Oh,
just
absolutely.
choke out the game. I
Yeah.
mean, last week they had 3 possessions in the first half.
right.
3, because they were just running again. Running again. Oh, you got a pass rush? Well, we're going to run it again.
Yeah.
That's what they did to Denver. They choked out the game.
And they knew too that they kind of were up on top. Even the score didn't show
It
it.
was 10-7 at half, but they didn't
yeah.
care.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
Yeah. But I think, like, our 3 guys, Ray, I don't know if Ray's playing or not.
He's limited in practice. He
but
still has a red
protocol.
non-contact
Ray,
jersey.
Ty, Cook, Gilliam,
With the offensive line,
with the offensive
Alec
line.
Anderson.
I'm taking those guys, even though you
Yeah.
got Lamar and you got Derrick
So
Henry.
you're going to laugh at this, but last week against the Steelers, on a couple of series, the Ravens took a page out of our book. They brought a 6th offensive lineman
I
on
saw that.
and Ricard.
I saw yeah.
Now you got 7 300-pounders on the field.
It's literally
and a
like-
250-pound running back.
And two
the-
tight ends, probably 260, probably, right?
It's like a herd of cows out there. They're so big. It's they're huge.
It's
They're a little different, for sure.
yeah.
a little different, but hey, that's the way that they built that offense.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and kudos to them. They have done such a good job in Baltimore. And I was making the comparison between Buffalo and Baltimore. Both these clubs have run a master class on picking, supporting, and developing a quarterback that a lot of people had doubts about.
Right.
They built it around him, gave him everything they need. They looked at like the Ravens looked at Lamar, the Bills looked at Josh Allen. They gave each of those guys whatever it was they needed to help them get better as a quarterback. And then they doubled down. They didn't lose patience.
lose it, no.
They doubled down on it. They went further. And then they went further. And then, the Bills, they trade Steph did because it needed to be Josh's thing. They wanted to spread the ball around a little more, so they get rid of a great player. And the Ravens bring in a great player, a generational talent. So we're going to double down on this. Both these clubs have done outstanding job
jobs.
of developing a quarterback that a lot of people around the NFL had real doubts about whether they could be successful. And both these guys, to their credit, have worked really hard and done their part in getting better. But man, oh man, these two organizations deserve kudos for showing how it's done.
And I think when it all comes down to, like whatever quarterback loses this game, Lamar or Josh, I think if Lamar loses it, it'll be more talked about this offseason of why he didn't advance to the championship game after having a better year.
Right.
After having a better year. I think with Josh, it's like we have the talent. We just need to get over the hump.
It's different.
But I think it's more pressure on Lamar to do.
It's a little different.
because of the season he had.
Because of the
different.
season that he had.
Bills
And he
have-
hasn't done well in the playoffs.
One of the things now, though, the Bills have already exceeded expectations from the beginning. of the year.
doubt.
They're
doubt they
they're
have.
living on house money in the national narrative. Bills fans want them to go the whole way. They'll never be satisfied because they got to get one.
Right.
But Baltimore, everybody said, "Well, yeah." So if they don't advance, it's a big problem for them going into the offseason because they really did everything right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to tip your hat to them. And Bills are, they've already, nobody expected them to win the division, and here they
We're
did.
third place.
They set a record how fast they did it.
Yeah.
So,
Thurm, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the game on Sunday night.
I will, bud.
Try to keep
Appreciate
yourself nice and calm.
it. Yeah,
you know?
I will. I
Yeah,
will.
I can't say the same for this guy. He's yelling in the back of the radio booth.
I'm bothering Brownie and Eric.
Hear him through the headset sometimes. It's crazy. He's out of control.
Settle down there.
Gotta,
When they fell behind 14-0 to the Patriots here at home a couple of weeks ago, week 15, I left.
I was like,
I came over here and got ready.
You had to cool
I
off.
came to the field house, and I had to watch the game on TV because I was embarrassing myself up there.
he turns into a different human being.
I was like, I'm sorry, I got to
He
leave.
turns into game
Gotta
day
leave.
Thurm.
I gotta leave.
Yeah,
Game
kind of
day
like that.
Thurm, man.
I had to isolate myself. You
did.
It was so
At least
bad.
he had presence
By
of
the
mind
time
to
I
do
got
it.
over here, it's 14-7. It's like, oh, we're going to be all right.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Thurm. Enjoy the game.